Call Ladies by MK Malik. I moved in 5 years ago, and contrary to the real estate agent's predictions, the hookers are still here. The neighborhood in a sliver of northeast London was 100% on the up, the agent said, which I had a hard time seeing, and not just because of my glaucoma. See? He'd said, pointing out a cafe that served coffee and fixed bikes. I saw only a flock of teenage boys with their jeans hanging off their bums. I told the agent that when I was their age, I fought off the Germans and somehow managed to keep my trousers around my waist while doing it. He wasn't completely wrong about the gentrification. I regularly got stuck behind pram squadrons on my way to pick up locally sourced cat shoes. I bought them once when the hardware store ran out, and now Tabitha won't eat anything else. If I want ham and cheese, I know to ask for prosciutto and brie. Flyers put through my letterbox for candlelit yoga, which I don't mind because I can use them for my paper mache. I now understand focaccia. But the hookers are still here. My wife, Marie, may she rest in peace, never liked the term hookers. Call ladies, she said, was nicer. I don't really mind how people make their money, but I'm not crazy about the company the call ladies keep. And I'm pretty certain they're watching me. I try to confuse them. Never leave my flat at the same time, never stay gone longer than 20 minutes. When I come back, I point my key between two fingers so that when someone attacks me, I can stab the person in the eye. I poke my cane into the bush by the entrance to make sure no one is hiding there. Once inside the building, I punch 999 on my mobile phone in case of emergency and hover my thumb over the call button, then check behind the staircase and over by the door to the basement lockup to make sure no one stealthy has gotten inside. After unbolting the two locks to my flat, it only takes 10 minutes to do the rest. Say hello to Tabitha, check the bathroom, bedroom, under the bed, inside the closet, behind the TV, and in the oven. You never know where someone will hide. After I'm sure it's clear, I can relock the door from the inside. You don't want to be double bolted in a flat with an attacker. And then sit down to my paper mache. I took up paper mache some years back to soothe my nerves, and I tell my son Paul when he calls from Bellevue, it just sort of stuck. Thank you. He laughs. He always like a good pun. Today, I'm returning to my latest project. It's going to be a cat, a friend for Tabitha. When I realize I am out of glue. This is frustrating because my supplies are in the basement lockup. I have to go back out of my flat. As I open the door to the lockup, I see a man leaning against the far wall and staring at the ceiling, trousers around his shins. Kneeling in front of him, both black hands planted on either side of his bony hips and head bobbing rhythmically back and forth, is a call lady. They haven't heard me. All I want to do is move, but I cannot. Hello, hello, a disembodied voice speaks. I realized I have automatically pressed send on the 999 call I've been primed on my phone. The young man yanks up his trousers. His face is dirty, and when he barks, "Get up!" at his partner, who rises to her feet with significantly more calm, I can see that he is missing several teeth. I'm frozen, but shout, "Intruders! 179 Queens Road! Help!" "Hey now," the call lady says, and her voice is thick and long with Jamaica or Ghana or wherever she's from. "We didn't mean no harm. The door was open. We just let ourselves in." And if your door was open, I suppose it would be fine if I let myself in? I yell. I can't seem to lower my voice. Well, yes, lover, that's kind of how it works. She releases her thick black hair from a ponytail. Open door policy, you know. Come on now, Grandpa, the man says, and I can see he's on drugs. Shut your gums, and I won't have to hurt you. She turns to him and sniffs. Honey, you don't hurt no one with that limp dick of yours. Really? It's a marvelous turn of phrase. Yeah. I'm thinking I'll tell her this, feeling that I have an unlikely ally when she says, I'm getting the hell out of here. Yes, get out! I'm resolved to protect the lockup. I've called the police! The police ain't coming, the man says to me. They're not bothered about Queen's Drive, and yet they do call. The call lady looks at me like she's being double-crossed, like it was me performing the unthinkable acts in her storage locker. A young, thin policeman comes to take my statement while his partner leads the two to the police car. Just as she's ducking into the back seat, the call lady turns back to face me with unfocused eyes, and I realize, too, that she is also on the drugs. She says, hisses, really. Cracker! I'm sorry, I didn't. I said, cracker! She spits, and they're gone. A young, thin policeman comes to take my statement while his partner leads the two. The young policeman takes my statement. You've done a good thing, calling it in. I hope knowing that goes some way to help with the trauma. I grabbed the glue I came for and some extra newspaper, using one sheet of it to scoop up the greenish gob of spit on the floor. Next to it is a garish gold elastic cloth from her ponytail. My hands are full, so I pocket it. Trauma? Oh, no, I've been burgled before. It was much worse then. Oh, I don't mean that. That was some serious racial abuse there. I thought they only used that word in American movies. And the spitting? You'll be receiving a call from our colleagues at the Racial Assault Victims Line. He hands me a leaflet with RAVL written in block green letters. I don't consider myself a racial assault victim, and I tell him as much. Being referred to as a light-shaded biscuit by a woman who sells her parts for money, and I might add one whose unsatisfied customer has been yanked prematurely from climax, hardly qualifies as an assault. One could make a case for things being the other way around. I use the RAVL leaflet for my paper mache. When the phone rings the next day, I'm sitting in my living room with a book on my lap, looking out at the ambivalent spit that passes for rain in London in the winter. Tabitha swipes at the flashing light in the coffee table as I reach to pick up. Is that Michael? It's a woman. She sounds North American. This is Mr. Fitzhugh, yes. Michael, this is Alice from the Racial Assault Victims Line. I'm so glad you picked up. I'm just calling to touch base about your racial incident to see if you'd like to discuss your feelings. My feelings about what? About the incident. I don't think I have any feelings about the incident, and that's completely fine, Michael. I just wanted to let you know that I'm here in case you do have any feelings. I don't. And then, because Marie always told me I should be civilized, I add, thank you for calling. You're so welcome, Michael. That's what I'm here for. Am I correct, Michael, that this is the first time you've been the victim of a racial crime? I was not the victim of a racial crime. I was the victim of a crime against my personal space and common decency, but not of a racial crime. You don't think someone calling you the C word is a pretty big deal? The what word? Someone called me a cunt? Goodness, no, Michael, the C word, the one that means white person. I think I'm okay. Okay then, Michael, this is great work for today. I'm going to go ahead and give you some time to process. I'll call in a couple of days. On Wednesday, I cooked myself a roast. Marie and I always said that when we were both retired, the most luxurious thing would be to move the Sunday roast to Wednesday, and for 9 years we never missed one. Paul said we were crazy. Now he lives in South America and writes books like Ritual and Rite, a field guide to Bolivian transitional ceremonies. Alice calls me that evening. I'm making a papier-mâché mouse to go with the cat. Hi, Michael, she chirps. Who is this? I have to cradle the phone in between my ear and shoulder to keep covering it in glue. It's Alice, your RAVL representative. How was your day today? Just fine, Alice. Oh, that's so great. That is really so great. No issues then with regards to Sunday's incident? No issues, Alice. That's so great. Really is. And how have your family reacted to what happened to you? Sorry? Your family. Have they been supportive in the aftermath? Oh, I don't have much of a family. Oh, Michael, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to presume. Thank you for sharing that. I'd love it if you'd think of me as your family, Michael, in this instance. That seems strange, I say. Tabitha's batting something about on the floor. Families are there for each other, right? Alice says. You were the victim of a racial crime, and now here we are thrown together and bonded in the wars. Have you ever been in a war? No, I haven't, Michael. Have you? I have, actually. Yes, I don't use the term lightly. I can see now what it is. The call lady's gold elastic is in Tabitha's mouth. I pull it away from her, but I can't quite chuck it in the bin. It's the same color as something old and familiar, a color I used to know. Maybe I stick the gold elastic in a kitchen drawer in case I remember what it is. Michael, can we discuss how you felt when you heard the word cracker? I didn't actually really hear it. My hearing aids, they needed some adjusting. Sometimes, Michael, it's easier to pretend not to hear. No, really, there's quite a few good years out of date. Michael, she spat at you. Do you know who else spits? No? Camels. Interesting. And do their victims get calls from international RAVL representatives? She sighs, as if this is a question that has long plagued her. Usually I try not to think about Marie, but that night before I go to bed, I can't help it. She would have loved being on the other end of that call. She'd have chatted Alice up, probably invited her around for tea and biscuits. All heart, my Marie. Alice calls again on Friday. What do you do for fun, Michael? Do you watch television? I don't know. I used to go to the theater. Used to, not anymore. Why not? Well, if I go out, then I have to come back. And why would you not want to come back? I'm not really interested in this line of conversation. What do you do for fun, Alice? Oh, you know, the usual parks, roller skating, concerts. You know who I'd love to have seen in concert? The Beatles. She gasps a little. Did you ever see The Beatles? No. Oh, Michael, wouldn't that have been something? When I learned about the British invasion, that's when I knew I was moving to London. I stopped traffic in front of Abbey Road at least once a month and taken a tourist to take my picture. I can't think of anything to say to this, so I stay silent. Why would you not want to come back home? Alice asks. I've never articulated this before, and my words feel wrong, heavy in my mouth. If I leave, the flat is empty. If the flat is empty, someone can come in. Then when I come back, someone can be in there Have you always felt this way? For about 5 years. What happened 5 years ago? There was a break-in. They stole some things. I see. My wife was home. Alice is silent. She stays that way, and in the space I feel something move in me, like I swallowed some chewed up tissue, and it's working its way through. She was home, and you know what, Michael? I think maybe you should try to go out more. Tabitha tumbles into the room, engaged in close combat with a tube song. And this is based on your expertise as a racial assault victims line representative? Yes. A racial assault victims line representative who is calling me because of the fact that the last time I left my apartment I was assaulted. You admit it, you were assaulted. Alice, I have to go now. I go out on Sunday. Tabitha needs cat shoes. I need air. Coming out of the pet store, I see a small bookshop. I've no idea how long it's been there. I haven't bought a new book since I lost Marie. It's getting late and I don't like to be out past dark, but I go in anyway. After checking to see if anyone's looking, I pick up a book and shove my nose in it. The smell of a new book is wonderful. I'd forgotten. I look up toward the scrawny bookseller behind the counter and am stopped by the vision of something that for the past 5 years I have only seen framed by my sitting room window. Sunset, orange and yellow, gold. I pick up my plastic bags and move with whatever speed I can muster out of the door. The negligence, outside at dusk. I might as well put a sign on my back that says mug me. I'm rounding the corner to my flat when I see her cross the street, leaning against a telephone pole. I know it's her. Same height, same hazy, unfocused eyes. Every instinct in my bones tells me to run, quickly, get going. She looks straight at me. Maybe it's the effect of the setting sun. Maybe it's a slight high from the new book glue. Whatever it is, instead of taking the long way around to avoid her, I cross the street. I know I'm getting on in years, the old noodle isn't what it used to be, but still I feel I'll remember this moment for some time. I'll remember standing at the edge of Queen's Drive, bookshop at my back, and a tall, oddly beautiful call lady in front of me, incapable of stopping me from saying what I say. It was 5 years ago, I tell her. They broke into my house and they stole things. They told my wife who was my whole everything, to sit on the couch and to be quiet. She did. I came home 10 minutes later and she was where they left her. We called the police, we drank tea, she took out the recycling. She stepped back inside and that's when her heart stopped. The call lady's looking at me, listening and looking. She opens her mouth to speak and I think maybe she understands. Maybe she's felt that heavy drowning loss too, and maybe she knows something about resurfacing. You looking for a date, Grandpa? She says. Alice's last phone call is Monday. This is it, Michael. 3 calls is what we get to make, plus this one goodbye call, so I guess it's really 4. I wish I could do more. Well, I think you've done plenty. Alice, somehow I think I'll find a way to cope. I open up the kitchen drawer. The gold elastic is still in there. I want you to know it's been a pleasure serving as your RAVL representative. Oh, it's been a pleasure being represented. I push the end button, and my phone beeps to alert me to a voicemail. It's Paul. He's off to Patagonia for a bit, so we'll be out of touch. Tabitha paws at her papier-mâché cat. It falls over. The sky outside is spitting. And I get up to check the locks.